Welcome in to Chicago Bears Now. I am Harrison Graham. We are live on YouTube. We are also live here on Rumble simulcasting today. If you want to help support the show, go follow us on Rumble, rumble.com/Bears Now. We'll start today's show as we always do and appreciate all 100 of you plus waiting for us in the YouTube live comment. Shout out your city. We'll let the audience build up for a bit, and then we'll kind of let you guys know what's coming up here on today's show. As I'm just sending out a tweet here, so give me a sec. Boom, there we go. Let's ride here. Producer Jack back with me. He's ready to go. Jack's rocking. He's rolling. Bear down in the chat. Let us know where you guys are watching from. Let's see. Seattle, Washington from Steven. Chester, Pennsylvania from Martin. We've got Rochester from Lil Mar, Indianapolis from Joe, Michael from Milwaukee, go Bears, he says. Dayton, Ohio from Where Goes One, Chicago from Deshaun, Tampa the Lambert says Chicago. Crystal Lake, Illinois from Jerry. Tampa, we got Madison, Virginia from Dwayne. Mr. Cookie Frog is watching in Chicago. Continue to shout out your city. We'll get to that super chat. Guess who? Don Burr back at it. James in Charleston. Rudolph is in Williamsburg, Orlando, Florida from Mike. Bear down from Salem, Missouri from, who is that? Sloan. Okay, Don Burr, hey, he sent in a super chat first, even though he's our resident Lions fan. Detroit versus everybody, Hard Knocks 2024, draft week coming. A, Hard Knocks kind of sucks now, for being honest. And B, yeah, and it's only bad teams. Which, hey, maybe the Bears will be this year. Who knows? Thank you for the super chat, Don Burr. It's a love-hate relationship here, but hey, we appreciate the love. We really do. All right, this is the live poll question of the day. And I feel better after seeing y'all's poll results so far. Do you trust Ryan Poles, the new Bears GM? Type T for trust. Type D for don't. Get your votes in the chat. Go vote on the live poll. 85% saying yes, we do. So that's good because there's already a Fire Ryan Poles Medium article out there, and it's like, guys, can we let the guy do his job for a couple months? I felt better waking up today after the Ryan Bates ordeal. I tweeted out they should have offered more. What I really wanted to say is, hey, if they really wanted him and viewed him as a multi-year starter, they could have gone up a couple more million. They obviously did not do that, and they didn't get him, so that's okay. They clearly factored in that they may not get him, so it's all good. How can you trust this guy from T. Dupree? I just think we need to. Like, we're not even into the draft yet. Like, let's see his vision come to fruition a little bit. And look, if we're 2 years down the road and there's no progress, that's different. But we haven't even seen this team play a game under this GM and head coach. Don Burr says don't, obviously. Tim Everett says trust. Pitbull says trust. Already seeing some questions come through. If you want to guarantee to get those on the show, super chat, or you can use #Bears. Kevin says this is a rebuild. Chill out, everyone. Let's do it right this time. And I think that's a good point. Listen, maybe we underestimated how much of a rebuild it actually is, or at least how much Poles views it as one. Matthew trusts him. James trusts him. Jim says hasn't earned it. Okay, fair enough, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't trust. That doesn't mean you're like, oh, I'm off the bandwagon. Maybe you're neutral. Trust from Joker. Big trust from Tack Rose. James says trust. Producer Jack is laughing at something. I don't think it's chat related. Yeah, that's non-Bears Now related. Emilio says trust. Bear says trust. All right. Feel a little better. You know what else I've done? I've cooked up another mock draft. Do you want me to unveil it today? Like the video. We got to get to, I'll say, 200 likes? I'm swinging big. 200 likes before we get to our news and rumors portion. So, like the video right now. We'll come back to this before we start news and rumors, Jack. 200 likes, it's what we need. Like the video if you want another Bears mock draft. We'll check in on this in a second. Will Justin Fields make a big jump in year 2? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Sangray Kim, go ahead and type your N for no. 145 likes. Caleb says, like it. Got to get to 200. Derek says yes. Tamber says yes. Arthur, yes. Raleigh, says yes. Tamber says yes. Y. Tedros says yes. Hell yes from Jonathan. 200, run it up from HFL. Love it. Yes if we get another weapon. Still need 37 more likes. Yes from Jonathan. God, I hope yes from Pitbull. I wish, but probably will be next year. I'm praying he does. Mr. Cookie says yes. Joe says yes. All right. Lots of yeses coming in. Not seeing many no's. We'll see what happens. I think he'll make a jump. We'll see how much of a jump he makes. Name a player the Bears should go out and sign. Let's hear it. Get your votes in. Name a player the Bears should sign in free agency. Obviously, they missed out on Ryan Bates, but there's still players out there. So, stay tuned for that. Hell yes, I got my jersey from Alan. Hell yeah, chatsports.com/Fields jersey. The Brown center, J.C. Treader, Ian. There you go. Cole Beasley, Honey Badger, Jarvis Landry, Julio, Tyrann Mathieu, Wyatt Teller, Stephon Gilmore from Chris, AB from Joseph. I don't want AB. I don't want any part of AB. OBJ from Pick 6. So there you go. There you go. All right, you ready for the real show to start? If you are, type me. Get those me's flowing in, and we'll go ahead and hit that super chat now. Type me in the chat. We'll get back to some shout outs here. We'll hit this super chat real quick from Bob Boys. Assume we sign a right guard or a tackle. Who you taking at 39 and 48? If you sign one of those, which, hey, get to 200 likes, we'll do a mock draft. We still haven't gotten there, by the way. So it's up to you guys. If they sign one of those, I would say still one lineman and one receiver. If you don't sign either, probably one receiver, one lineman still, but you better handle at least one of those spots in free agency. That's all I'm saying. All right, shout-outs from me, Thomas, Dylan, Derek, T. Campbell, T. Dupree, Cyrus, another Josh, Sloan42, Joker, Emilio, all saying me in the chat. Francis, here's the thing. Y'all are saying you're ready, yet we're not at 200 likes. We're at 194. You guys got 10 seconds to get to 200 likes starting right now. Otherwise, we're not doing a mock draft. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We crossed 200, 240. Hey, show up, show out. We got you guys covered. And hey, this is why you subscribe. Also, this is why you follow us on Rumble. We'll have a bonus segment today. Stay tuned for that. Rumble.com/BearsNow. I've got the feed up over there as well. Just a few people watching over there. We'll remind you guys to shift over there later on in the shows. We'll have a bonus segment over there. Remember, Rumble, it's all bonus. It's taking nothing away from YouTube. Anything we do over there is on top of what we're already doing. Rumble.com/BearsNow. Give us a follow over there, and stay tuned as we'll have a bonus segment. So here's what's coming up on today's show. The latest Bears news and rumors, a lot of reaction to Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus at the NFL owners meetings, what they've said, live Q&A, use hashtag Bears or Super Chat to get your questions on the show. All Super Chats will take priority. Bears mock draft 3.0. My last mock draft I did the same day Khalil Mack got traded. So maybe that means something crazy is going to happen today. Who knows? And then also, bonus segment on Rumble, Bears Now After Hours, as Lee liked to call it. Bonus segment. Stay tuned for what that will be. Last week it was 5 trade ideas. Stay tuned to find out what it is this week. All right, all that and more is coming up here on Bears Now, so stay with us. Welcome in to Chicago Bears Now. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. Appreciate you guys for clicking on today's show. Let's get you guys caught up on the latest Bears news and rumors coming out of the NFL owners' meetings. We'll kick things off. Is this new Bears regime thinking more about the long term than the short term? I think that's pretty obvious. 4 smoking Jays, there's no doubt about that. Now, that doesn't definition of long term could simply just be after 2022. I'm not saying 7 years from now. No GM and head coach can think that way because otherwise you're going to get fired if you miss the playoffs 7 years in a row. But the point being is just read the tea leaves. Listen to Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus how they talk. See what moves this team has made in free agency so far. They're not doing anything that's going to break the bank on their future. This regime is thinking long term. They view this as a rebuild. Doesn't mean this team can't win at all in 2022, but I think it's a big reason why they traded Khalil Mack, because they didn't feel like he was on their timeline for the next handful of years. The reality is 2022 is going to be a transition year in some regards. Now, again, doesn't mean you can't win. Philadelphia went 9-8 last year, made the playoffs in what I would call a transition year. Maybe that can happen for Chicago. Here's what Matt Eberflus had to say about trading Khalil Mack, because I think this was the first move to kind of signal that, yeah, this team's playing for beyond 2022. Quote, "We just thought that it was what was best for the organization going forward. Looking at the whole piece of it, the contract, looking at everything, going forward for us, the club, it was the best move for us. It will be good for us in the long run." Ryan Poles also added the Mack trade was, quote, "what's best for the club." And look, you think back at the trade, it was a second and a sixth for Khalil Mack, a guy who's still a really good player. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it's capital to help you get better in the future, ideally, by adding that second-round pick, which Poles will have at his disposal. Matt Eberflus also talking about a little analogy here, long-term versus short-term. You always got to have microscope and a telescope. Well, you know, what does that mean? Telescope, you're looking far into the stratosphere, way out there, trying to see Jupiter or whatever. Microscope, it's what's right in front of you. So this team's balancing, okay, what's best long term, but how can we still be competitive this year? What can we still accomplish here in year one? Here's what I'll say. I don't think we should have major expectations for 2022. I think the expectation should be, okay, can Justin Fields take a big step this year? We'll talk about him in a minute. Are the players that this team currently has buying in to Matt Eberflus? Is Ryan Poles, the guys he drafts and sign, is he picking the right guys to fit into this culture and potentially prove to themselves that they can be long-term pieces? Those are the type of things. Wins and losses, look, I don't expect this team to go 3-14, but it could go 6-11 again. I mean, I think this team could win more than that. The schedule's easier. If Fields takes a step, it's still possible, but I think the moves they're making are for 2023 and beyond, when this team has an ample amount of cap space. The Bears will win blank games in 2022. Fill in the blank for us down in the comments. I'll just hip check it. How about 7? Could start slow. I think Fields makes some nice strides. Again, we'll talk about him here in a sec. You fill in the blank. The Bears will win blank games in 2022. Even if the win-loss is similar to last year, I think they'll be trending in the right direction long-term, whereas last season it's like, this team's going nowhere. You got to change the coach and GM, which is what happened. Pin comment on today's show, how many games will the Bears win this year? All right, big jump for Justin Fields in 2022. I'm going to go 3 smoking J's. I think it's pretty likely. I think a jump is coming. Now, big jump, is substantial, right? Both statistically and just how he's playing, decision-making, etc. Matt Eberflus spoke at the owners' meetings earlier today. He flat out said, look, it should be a big jump for Fields this year. He talked about, Fields needing to take care of the ball. We'll get to a quote in a second. But also, I think he pointed to, hey, new scheme, Luke Getsy. Then I'm just connecting dots here, which I've mentioned before. He's got a full offseason now as being the starter. He's putting the work in. I think those things in itself will go a long way, but I still think you need some more pieces around him, which we'll explore. Matt Eberflus said this earlier this morning. Quote, should be a big jump for Justin Fields. That's what we're looking for, better technique, better fundamentals, better decision-making, better timing, everything. He's been working his tail off, which you guys have seen some clips. That's what we want. Just that big jump from year 1 to year 2. Look, we know Fields is putting in the work. We've seen the clips that have gone on social media. And by the way, Fields is not a big social media guy, so he's probably putting in a lot more work than what we've seen. We know he's been hanging out with Darnell Mooney in the offseason as well. They've been training together. I have no doubts that Justin Fields putting in work. He's a work guy. Now, it doesn't necessarily translate to major improvements, but it won't be for a lack of work ethic if Justin Fields doesn't work out. He will put in the work. What do you guys think? Will Justin Fields make a big jump in year 2? Type Y for yes. Type in for no. Cast your votes for us down in the comment section. Will Justin Fields make a big leap this year? Now, we are now on Rumble, have been for about the past month or so, we being Bears Now. Give us a follow, help us out, rumble.com/Bears Now. You can find some exclusive content over there, more Bears news and rumors, plus some extra coverage for you guys right there. Rumble.com/Bears Now. Go give us a follow today. Okay, you look at the Bears skill guys, more on this field story. It's not bad. Darnell Mooney, Byron Pringle, David Montgomery, Khalil Herbert, Cole Kmet. I think those are all guys who can contribute. In Mooney, in Montgomery's case, those are guys that can be major contributors. But I still think while the Bears regime is balancing, hey, we're trying to win for years and years, not just this year, you still need to help right now. To get a full evaluation of Justin Fields, you at least need a little bit more. Need a piece or two more on the O-line. Get him another receiver, maybe a number 2 tight end. Just a couple more weapons to help him right now. Very few second-year quarterbacks are going to take off with what the Bears currently have in place. Now, scheme should help. Him having reps this offseason and all the way through training camp, those things will help him improve, but get him a few more weapons to work with. Let's get a full evaluation, or at least closer to one, here in year 2. Now, maybe the Bears are saying, he's starting the next 2 years no matter what. So if he struggles this year, doesn't matter. We're still invested in him. And that's fine, but I want to see tangible improvement this year, and I think helping him do that is get a couple more pieces in here, whether it's in free agency or in the draft. Make sure you guys subscribe to Bears Now on YouTube. Constant news, rumors yesterday. Put out a video, hey, I think Ryan Bates is going to end up being a Bear. A couple hours later, we found out the Bills match. Good news, bad news, we have it all covered. YouTube.com/Bears Now, the #1 Chicago Bears channel here on YouTube. Okay, keeping Eddie Jackson and Robert Quinn this year. Is that going to happen? I'll go 3 Smoking Jays on this as well. Again, just listen to what these guys are telling us. We'll start with Eddie Jackson. Matt Eberflus said today, look, he's got a clean slate with us this year. Excited to see what he can do in this defense. That doesn't sound like a guy who's going to trade Eddie Jackson at all. He fully expects him to be here, and quite frankly, you can't trade him until after June 1st anyway, the way his contract is set up. So keeping him just makes sense. So the question is, can Eddie Jackson in this new system kind of be revitalized? In 2018 and 19, this guy was an elite NFL safety. 8 interceptions, 20 pass breakups, 3 total defensive touchdowns. He was tremendous. The last 2 years, though, in the same amount of games, tackles were up, but that's also because he wasn't making as many plays on the football. No picks, even though he had a couple taken back in 2020. Only 7 pass breakups, only 1 defensive touchdown, which, by the way, the 2021 was a scoop and score, not to get you confused with the interception touchdown column there. The point is, this is a make-or-break season. He's going to be on this roster this year, barring a post-June 1st trade. And based on how Eberflus is talking, I don't think that's going to happen. He will be here. So he's got to prove this year if he's a long-term piece. If not, he'll get cut next year or traded. I think we all think that it's much easier to move his contract next year. So to make or break 2022 for Eddie Jackson, I hope he makes the most of it. Will Eddie Jackson bounce back? What do you think? Type 1 for yes, type 0 for no, and we'll get to Robert Quinn here in just a second. So on Robert Quinn now, I mentioned 3 Smoking Jays for him as well is returning. Ryan Poles said on Monday, trading Quinn has not come up. That has not been something that has been discussed internally. Now, if they get offers that they like, that could change, but I think Poles in this front office probably looked at this, okay, Khalil Mack, Robert Quinn, let's trade one, let's keep one. They traded Khalil Mack, and they're probably going to keep Robert Quinn this year. Again, I think things can change. I don't think you're getting this production out of him. Again, I think he can give you 10-plus sacks, but 18.5 would be just unbelievable for a second straight season. My take is still that if you get a day 2 offer, if someone offers you a day 2 pick, second, third-round pick, I'm at least considering it, especially since it's clear that this team is not going all in on 2022, which, by the way, they shouldn't. I've never once suggested they should go all in 2022, albeit some people are in my DMs suggest otherwise. But that's neither here nor there. My point is, I would still consider trading Quinn for a day 2 pick, but maybe that's not out there, or maybe the Bears say, hey, we traded Mack, we're keeping Quinn, we're rolling with what we got. Would you trade Robert Quinn for a day 2 pick, second, third-round pick? Type T for trade, type K for keep. Would you trade Robert Quinn for a day 2 draft pick? Jam-packed show today here on our News and Rumors segment. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you made it this far in the video and haven't subscribed already, be sure you guys do so. Share that link below with a friend, youtube.com/Bears Now. Just hit that big red button and subscribe for more free videos. All right, I want to circle back to this one, and we've got some super chats that we'll hit during this mailbag, so stay tuned for those. Cool. How many wins for the Bears this year? Pick 6 says 10. Pat Rick says 4. Emilio says 7. Javier says 10. Tamber says 8. I could see this being where the roster is slightly worse from a transition standpoint. You trade Mack, you get some duct tape type of pieces on 1-2 year deals, the Justin Jones of the world, but better coaching and a more fired up group and an easier schedule, you actually win more games. Like you won 6 last year, you easily could have won 8. Maybe you win 7 or 8 this year. Maybe you sneak your way and win 9, sneak into the playoffs. I still don't think that's out of the realm of possibility, especially since the AFC is much stronger than the NFC right now. Esteban says 9. Tyler says 10. L2 Cloud says 8. Garrett says 10 or 6. I've seen anything from 4 to 12 in the chat. And, hey, that's probably fair. You never know how it's going to play out. Jess Laceth, we okay, NFC East, South, Jets, Lions twice, 8 wins. Yeah, I mean, look, if you could win 3 out of 4 against Minnesota and Detroit, or how about this? Can you go 500 in the division, right? Packers, Lions, Vikings, go 3-3. Okay, that's 3 wins. Jets, you should beat the Jets. NFC South, outside of Tampa, the Saints, Panthers, and who am I forgetting? Saints, Panthers, Falcons. Those are all winnable. Say you win 2 of those. You're not going to beat the Bucs. But 3 wins in the division, 2 wins against the NFC South. You beat the Jets, so that's 6 wins already. Find a couple more you're not supposed to win, right? Like the crossover game against the Dolphins, that's not inconceivable. We don't know what Tua is. So, yeah, I think it's a good point. Bob Boys, FGB, get it going in the chat, and Don Burr, bear down in the chat. Hey, listen, Don Burr, yeah, the Lions suck, but hey, I respect him. He gets the chat going. He's our resident Lions fan. Hey, don't tell Don Burr. I think he actually likes the Bears. Don't tell him. Don't tell him. Okay, Anthony. No one likes. Hey, I don't know what to tell you. We'll let's get this off screen. Alani is next up here. Appreciate the super chat though. Shout out to my guy Harrison. Appreciate the $5. Appreciate that as well. Yeah, I mean, you're the man. Ask a question next time. I've seen a couple of your videos, by the way. Keep it up. Keep it up. All right, mailbag coming up as we are live here on Rumble and on YouTube. And by the way, hey, like I said, Rumble is just bonus content. We're posting Bears and sports videos over there. That's it. So help us out. Go follow us. Rumble.com/Bears now. It's bonus content on top of what we're already doing on YouTube. Hashtag Bears, or you can super chat to get your questions in right now here on this mailbag. It is mailbag time here on Chicago Bears Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Harrison Graham. Appreciate everybody for tuning in to today's episode. Let's go ahead and get to your questions. Alani with a $30, or is that $20? $20 super chat. I misread it. Still awesome. Appreciate it. Can't fix this overnight. All these big names are not what's needed. Poles' approach is going to pay off. This time next year, we'll be the draft of all drafts. He will accumulate 10 picks. I think it's a good point. Listen, anything positive coming out of 2022, I'll say this. If Justin Fields makes a big jump and this team wins 6 games, who cares? Like, I want to make the playoffs, but, like, if you don't, okay, you're shaping up for a good 2023. Now, if Fields is terrible this year or has a bunch of injuries and you still suck, then it's like, okay, do you need to get a quarterback? I don't think that's going to happen, but this year is mostly about Fields, which is what last year should have been about. Remember, as we spend more time, because Alani gave us $20, we appreciate it. Pace and Nagy screwed this up. They should have made last year what Poles is doing this year. Last year should have been, let's trade guys that can get us draft picks, and let's let Justin Fields let it rip as a rookie. They didn't do it. They wanted to start Andy Dalton, who, by the way, signed with the Saints. Bad guy's eyes. Prove-it deals involving young ascending players is fine, but Fields is a priority. Evaluating, protecting, and developing him is the 2022 goal. Absolutely. This year is about Justin Fields, like I just said. Finding out what he is. Is he the guy for this team? Now, I think you need to get him a few more pieces to help him show that he can be that guy, especially on the offensive line, but probably another receiver as well. But I think that'll happen. I do think that'll happen. Hey, guys, follow me on Instagram, at HGramNFL. Here's the deal. We're closing in on 3,000 followers, and once we do that, we'll cook up another Instagram Live. Every 500, every 1,000 followers, we've been doing a brand new IG Live for you guys, so that is awesome. Let's get to 3,000. Also, you can slide in the DMs, ask me your questions. I got to catch up on a bunch still, but I will do that. Follow me at HGramNFL, and once we cross 3K, we will cook up another IG Live. Emiliano Brito, 6 wins, but hoping for a top 3 pick next year. This team is not built to win. It's mediocre at best, which is bad. Just tank, trade everyone for picks. I don't think this team will tank, but they may not win a lot of games either. So, Emiliano, you might get your wish in all reality. Justin Rother, what if we trade into the first to get Linderbaum? I'm intrigued. He/Olave are like the 2 guys I would consider trading up for if I was the Bears. But yeah, I mean, if you draft him, ideally you've got a center for the next 10 years. Lucas Prang, any chance the Bears start 3 to 5 UDFAs next year? Maybe. How about one of your guys from last year? How about Charles Snowden? I don't think he'll start, but I think he'll be on this football team and contribute. Like, he's a guy, I think it's possible you find a couple after this year's draft that can contribute. So I don't know about starting, and I don't know about 3 to 5 starting, but could 1, 2, 3 make your roster? I think it's possible. Ben Bobby, are the Bears tanking in 2022? A lot of tank questions today. Kind of what I was saying a second ago, Ben and the other guy who was asking about tanking as well. I don't think this team's intentionally tanking, but they're also not signing like big name win now A-level talent because those guys are a little bit older and they don't fit this year's timeline. They're getting good value deals in free agency. They want to get some guys in the draft. You're not intentionally tanking, but you may not go out and win 12 games either. Like, this team could go 5-12, 6-11, 7-10. I still think 8-9 wins is possible with the schedule and if Justin Fields takes a big jump, but not an intentional tank. At the same time, I think a lot of what this regime is doing is fixing the mistakes of Pace with how he handled the cap and trying to build for the future as well. Are the Bears tanking? Shout out producer Jack for cooking up this question real quick. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Are the Bears tanking in 2022? Jaden Rowley, Harrison, are you a Bears fan or KC? I gotta know. Appreciate the super chat. Cover both for Chat Sports. Bears is a bigger channel, a bigger priority, and I have a blast doing it. Bear down, baby. Matthew Prowl, are Bears, appreciate the super chat, by the way, are the Bears going to sign an offensive lineman before the draft? Devastated to see Bates fall. I'm devastated is strong. I understand the being upset. I was a little upset yesterday. I thought you could have offered a little more money, but 4-year deal for an RFA. The Bills matched it. Give them credit. They decided to keep the guy. But yeah, I would expect at least one lineman being signed before the draft. I think Eric Fisher makes a lot of sense. We'll see who they end up targeting. Sky 142. Do the Bears take David Ojabo if he falls to them? So Dane Brugler of The Athletic, who does a great job with their draft coverage, he said based on what he's hearing, anywhere from 40 to 75 could make sense for Ojabo. Bears pick at 39, they pick at 48, they pick at 71. 71's a home run. If he's there at 71, even if you have other needs, you might just take him. But just know you may not have him this year at all. You probably won't have him in his rookie year for much. So that factors in with the torn Achilles. I probably would not take him at 39, probably not at 48, but at 71, if he's hanging out, I might take a gamble there. Joe Cuttigan, any news on Foles or Quinn possible trades? So Ryan Poles said a Quinn trade has not been discussed. That was as of Monday. He also on Monday said that Nick Foles trade, look, it's on the table. Trevor Siemian will be the backup. But as of now, there's no traction for Foles. But I do think the Bears would trade him if they found a trade partner. Appreciate the $10 from Tanner. You guys are bringing the heat with these super chats. Let's get to $100. We're at 68 right now. Just wanted to say I appreciate the content. Keep up the good work. Been here since 7,000 subs. That's awesome. We're at 45 plus now. By the way, you have any suggestions on sites to buy autographed Bears gear? Keep up the great work. Well, I will say this, Tanner. Appreciate the love, the support. Bears draft hats are out, number one. Go check them out, chatsports.com/BearsDraft. We have partnered with Fanatics as well, and they have these Bears draft hats, chatsports.com/BearsDraft. Check out the different hats. I like the ones with the orange Bears text and the white cursive text overlaying, but if you like the black and navy there, go check that one out. Chatsports.com/BearsDraft, link in the comments and in the description. Also, after you go to that link, Tanner, as we go back to your question, Fanatics has some signed memorabilia, some signed jerseys, some signed footballs, helmets, and stuff like that. So go to that link, and then on the left side of your page, after you take a look at the hats, there's different categories, and you should be able to find some memorabilia there. So that is a source where you can find some stuff. Jonathan Upshaw, I feel there is a big signing on the way this week. Maybe. Define big. I think we should know by now that the Bears aren't going to throw a ton of money at somebody. Larry Ogunjobi, 3 years, $40.5 million before that deal fell through. I can't imagine they would top that contract at this point. But there are some guys that they could throw some money at. I do think they'll bring in some guys still. They have to. They still have 30-plus open roster spots for a 90-man roster. The draft and UDFAs is not going to fill that out with this team only having 6 draft picks right now. Chris Johnson, do you view Thomas Graham as a potential starter, or will CB still be a high need in the draft? So we have the cornerback depth chart. We'll go ahead and show that real quick. And don't freak out at this depth chart. This is kind of based on who got a lot of the snaps last year, yada, yada, yada. So take that with a grain of salt. Jalen Johnson, he'll obviously start. I don't really anticipate Kendall Vilder starting. I think this team will sign a veteran CB2. Be on the lookout for that. Duke Shelley could start at nickel. I'd prefer to upgrade. Thomas Graham, I have him listed as a backup just because he didn't play much last year, but it's possible he starts. I think it's very possible he starts as your nickel or CB2, depending on what the Bears do at the position. Matthew Prow, where should I buy a quality Fields jersey? Chatsports.com/Fields jersey. Don't have the link on screen, but you see the one below, chatsports.com/BearsDraft. Just go /Fields jersey. And there you go. You'll be good to go. Dustin Yoder, the way Bears take 2 wide receivers in the first 3 rounds, Watson and Alec Pierce. Anyway, yeah, absolutely. I think taking 2 wide receivers on day 2 is very possible. I wouldn't say quite probable, but possible, no doubt about it. I think they for sure take 1. Christian Watson out of North Dakota State, big, long, fast. I still think he's a little raw, but I like him in round 2. I love him in round 3. Alec Pierce, same deal. I think 39's too rich. Maybe 48 makes sense. For sure 71 if he's there. George Pickens, Jahan Dotson, potentially if he slides a little bit. Sky Moore. There's a lot of guys you could take on day 2. David Bell in round 3, hopefully. There's a lot of guys you can get in this draft. All right, Bears fans, if you've subscribed to Bears Now, first of all, I appreciate it. Round of applause. Second of all, type S if you are a Bears Now subscriber. S-Gang represent down below. Hey, I'll be reading the comments. We'll give some shout-outs, too. Plus, subscribe if you haven't. Who is the best option at left tackle currently on the roster? Borum, Jenkins, and Whitehair. Not Whitehair. I'll say Jenkins just because I think he's a better prospect than Borum, although some people think Borum's best position could be left tackle, but I just think Jenkins is a better talent, so I'll say Jenkins. I don't know if any of them are great options or even good options. Maybe they are. This new regime hasn't really given us much based on the current offensive linemen. Sky142, another super chat. Appreciate it, my friend. Do the Bears draft a quarterback in the 2023 draft? If Fields doesn't improve this year, I still don't trust the Ohio State quarterbacks in the NFL. We got to get past Ohio State quarterbacks have never been good in the NFL. Well, Texas Tech quarterbacks have never been good in the NFL. Well, then Patrick Mahomes can't. Someone breaks those trends eventually. Ryan Day is an elite quarterback developer at Ohio State. It's not his fault for the guys they've had before then. I think Fields is going to be good. And if he's not, it's not because he went to Ohio State. That's just a random coincidence. Chris Allen. I know he's cheaper, but is Trevor Siemian better than Nick Foles? Currently, he played more than Foles last year. 11 touchdowns, 3 picks. Foles did win the one game he played. But if you heard what Ryan Poles said, they like Siemian's game in this scheme more. I do think a lot of things for these fringe starter backup types are scheme-driven. And listen, let's be honest. For a backup quarterback, money just comes into play. So even if the answer is Foles, if you can trade him and clear out $8 million, great. If you cut him, you save $3 million. You gave Siemian $2 million per year. You save money either way. Let's be honest. If Fields gets hurt, this year's a wash. That's just the reality. Make sure you guys follow me on IG. Like I said, once we cross 3,000, we will cook up another Bears Now Instagram Live where you guys can hop on video chat and ask me whatever questions you have about free agency, trades, draft, whatever. At HGramNFL, give me a follow right now. All right, Bears fans, like we've been saying, we're now on Rumble. Bonus segment coming up later today. Help us reach 500 followers. We're currently at 361. I know we can do better. Come on. Rumble.com/Bears Now. Let's at least get to 370 right now. I'm not jumping to the next segment until we get to 370. So I'm going to hang out. At Rumble.com/Bears Now. Hit the green follow button. We'll come back to this. We're not going to the next segment until 370, but we did get a super chat. Oh, Sangray Kim. Another Ryan, another incompetent, bumbling Ryan. I can always count on you to be positive, Sangray Kim. If nothing else, you always bring the positivity. So I appreciate that. We're at 362 now. We've added one more. Got to get to 370. Let's go. Give me a follow. Rumble.com/Bears Now. Now, sometimes the feed is a little bit behind there, so we won't literally wait here forever, but I'm going to give it a little bit more time. We might wait here forever, producer Jack says. He's in charge. I just talk. He pushes the buttons. So go check us out. We'll have a bonus segment over there at the end of today's live show, exclusively on Rumble. So follow us, subscribe, whatever it says, green button. And let's get to 370 right now, and then shortly we'll get to 500 as well. We'll come back. We'll check this. So appreciate you guys for rocking with us here on Bears Now by Chat Sports. Coming up, Mock Draft 3.0. Can't wait. Let's get into it. You're watching Chicago Bears Now. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. You guys have been asking for it, so here it is. Bears Mock Draft 3.0. Last time I did a mock draft, Khalil Mack got traded on the same day, so that one kind of got cucked. Let's do another one here for you guys. A little background here. NFL draft is less than a month away. I can't believe I'm saying that. April 28th through the 30th. Bears have made some minor moves in free agency up to this point, and currently Chicago has six draft picks. They added a second-round pick from the Khalil Mack trade, also got a sixth-round pick, but that one's for next year. So 6 draft picks as we sit right now. Here are those selections. 2 picks in round 2, number 39 and number 48. That 48th pick comes from the Chargers in the Khalil Mack trade. Number 71 overall in round 3. 2 fifth-round picks, 148 from Houston in the Anthony Miller trade. Number 150 as well. And then number 184, the final pick for the Bears. No first, no fourth, no seventh-round picks as of now. But, of course, trades could change that. Here are my biggest needs for the Bears as we're filming this live right now. Offensive line, all across the board. I think all 3 positions, guard, center, tackle, you could justify. Wide receiver, still need receivers. Cornerback, need corners. Strong safety, next to Eddie Jackson. Linebacker. I think those are positions. You could add another edge. You can add another defensive tackle. Like, no position group on this team is too filled, but those are the top 5 that I would rank. All right, before we get into my Bears Mock Draft 3.0, if you're excited for the draft, like the video. Plus, if you want Bears Mock Draft 4.0 to come out, like the video as well. The more likes we get, the more mocks we'll do between now and the draft. And by the way, I promise you guys, this mock draft is with trades, and if you're excited about that, like this video. All right, let's get into Bears Mock Draft 3.0. You guys have been patient. Free agency frenzy still ongoing, but it's slowed down enough that it's time to cook up another mock draft. So at pick number 39, the Bears trade the pick. I said mock draft with trades. Woo, woo. Okay, the Bears receive number 57 and number 89. By the way, we're using the Pro Football Network Draft Simulator. I think they have the best one right now. Send away 39 to the Bills. So, hey, you drop down 18 spots. You also add a third-round pick for number 39. I'd probably do this trade if I was Ryan Poles. So the Bears' first pick is now at number 48. That pick from the Chargers, Jahan Dotson. He slid a little bit in this mock draft. I couldn't turn down the value. I almost didn't take him because I was like, in mock draft 1.0, I took Dotson. I want to be different. But I had to take the best value pick here. Dotson, he's kind of a late first, early, mid, round 2 prospect. I'd be surprised if he's here at 48, but it's possible. Someone's going to slip a little bit, and maybe a guy like Jahan Dotson could be that. Great speed, good after the catch as well. Also can be a punt returner. And let's be real, the Bears need more weapons for Justin Fields. In his career, he got better and better each and every year. Almost 200 catches, 2,757 yards, 25 touchdowns, over 15 yards a catch. He is a big play machine, and he can also return punts. If you're uncomfortable with Daz Newsome as a punt returner, Jahan Dotson could be that for you. So yeah, I think this is a guy that can come in, can be your number 2, number 3 receiver, and he can contribute on special teams as well. He's fast, he's speedy. I like it quite a bit. Other players on the board when I made this selection: Drake Jackson, the edge out of USC, Chad Muma, a linebacker out of Wyoming, DeMarvin Leal, defensive lineman out of Texas A&M, Tyler Smith, the offensive lineman out of Tulsa, and then Desmond Ridder was actually on the board. Not that the Bears are going to draft a quarterback, at least not high in the draft. Grade the pick of Jahan Dotson at number 48 overall, A, B, C, D, or F. I was very pleased with the value. I'm going to type A for myself, but hey, we're asking you guys to grade it in the comments section. Hey, Tyler Smith is still on the board, so I got him at number 57. Remember, this pick trading down from 39 to 57 while also adding a third-round pick. Rising player in this year's draft. I think he's got guard tackle flexibility, played left tackle at Tulsa, but I think his technique still needs some work, but some draft scouts like him. He's been moving up draft boards. Seen some mocks get him in round 1. I don't think I'd take him in the first round. I think this is more proper value for him. I think what you could do here is you could play him at guard as a rookie if needed. Left guard, right guard, wherever. If you need to move Whitehair to right guard, you can do that if you want to keep Tyler Smith on the left side. This is an upside plus need pick. You need offensive line, and we know Ryan Poles, Matt Eberflus, they're also looking long-term as well. Maybe there'd be some growing pains in year 1, but I think it's good value, and I think it fills a need. You look at the depth chart right now, you need dudes, man. You need dudes on the offensive line, and I think Tyler Smith, at the end of the day, as of right now, would be one of your best 5 offensive linemen. And if you want to get the best 5 out there, even if that means he plays at guard his first year or 2, then I think that's perfectly fine. And let's be clear. Just because Ryan Bates didn't work out, Poles knows the O-line is an issue. He's not dumb. He's not just going to, well, we didn't get Ryan Bates, it's all over. No, he'll look at free agency. He's going to look in the draft. We know that. Give it time. Tyler Smith at 57, I think that'd be good value. Other players on the board when I made this selection, I'm not going to lie, Arnold Ebiketie was tempting the edge out of Penn State, but had to address a need. Alec Pierce, the wide receiver out of Cincinnati. Travis Jones, defensive tackle out of UConn. Nevada quarterback Carson Strong. And then Cam Thomas, the edge rusher out of San Diego State. We'll keep this mock draft going for you guys, but hey, subscribe if you want more Bears mock drafts and just overall Chicago Bears news and rumors videos as well. We'd like to think we're the best Bears channel on YouTube. Someone told us that. Maybe that was our mother, but who knows. YouTube.com/BearsNow. Go ahead and subscribe today. All right, we got another trade alert. Woo, woo. Bears receive number 78 overall, number 99 overall, a pair of third-round picks from Cleveland. Cleveland trades up to 71, and they also get a fifth-round pick from Chicago. So I'm shipping out 148 and 71, only dropping down to 78 while also adding 99. Wheeling and dealing, making moves. I like how this is playing out. So at number 78, I get another receiver that I really like, Sky Moore out of Western Michigan. The value was too good. I think he could go in round 2. He's had a strong pre-draft process, good Senior Bowl, tested pretty well in Indy as well. Good speed. He can play outside. He can play the slot, tracks the ball pretty well on deep balls. And, hey, we know that Justin Fields in this offense wants to throw the ball downfield. Sky Moore had a terrific season last year. 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns. Big playability is there at over 13.5 yards per catch. I know it's Western Michigan, but Darnell Mooney went to Tulane, and he was a 5th-round pick, and he's been awesome. Sky Moore can be a good player as well. And we talk about Sky Moore, Jahan Dotson. You got Darnell Mooney, you got Byron Pringle. If Equinemius St. Brown can slide down to be wide receiver 4 or 5, you get these two guys in there, Dotson and Moore. That's a pretty fun receiving core. You know what it is? It's speed, baby. Mooney, Dotson, Moore, Pringle as well. Those dudes can run. Like, all 4 of those dudes can run. And maybe, hey, if Dotson and Moore need a learning curve as a rookie, that's what Byron Pringle's for. Like, he'll take whatever role he gets, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. If he ends up being receiver 4, that's a good thing for the Bears. Maybe not as good of a thing for Pringle, but hey, that's how these things play out. Could not turn down drafting Sky Moore in round 3. Other players on the board when I made this selection, Kingsley Mbare, the edge out of South Carolina. I was actually tempted there, but I did not go in that direction. Ed Ingram, the guard out of LSU. That was a tough one to pass up on, but I thought Moore was better value. Abraham Lucas, the offensive tackle out of Wazoo. Leon O'Neal, the safety out of Texas A&M. And then David Bell, more conventional receiver, but doesn't have as much speed. I opted to go with the faster player in Sky Moore. Name a wide receiver that the Bears should draft. I took Jahan Dotson and Sky Moore, but maybe you want David Bell. Maybe you want George Pickens. Maybe you want to trade up for Chris Olave. Maybe it's someone else. Let me know who's a receiver you want to see the Bears draft this year. Well, if you want to draft hat, you can buy one. Chatsports.com/BearsDraft. I like this style, this color scheme, I should say, the best. Although the main part of the hat should have been navy as well. That's my only gripe with it. But the orange Bears letters and then cursive Chicago and white text is a good look. This one is just not conflicting enough, but I thought I'd show you guys. Black on navy, that's a tough combination. Tough to read what's there on screen. But different styles, snapbacks, fitted, curved bill style as well. It's all available at that link below. Link is in the comments and in the description. Chatsports.com/BearsDraft. All right, another 3rd-round pick because, hey, I'm wheeling and dealing. This trade from earlier with Cleveland. Round 3, pick number 89, Abraham Lucas, offensive tackle out of Washington State. I think this guy's being overlooked as a prospect. Now, he's a right tackle, so I think you got to figure out, okay, where does Tevin Jenkins fit? Plus, in this case, you drafted Tyler Smith as well. Again, I think he could play guard as a rookie, whereas Lucas, I think you'd want to keep him at tackle. I think my guy Tom Downey, who's our draft expert here at Chat Sports, he thinks Lucas is being overlooked, thinks he should get some round 2 love. If you think Tevin Jenkins is a left tackle or maybe you think he's a guard, then you can draft Abraham Lucas and play him at right tackle. But let's be honest, before any of this happens, Ryan Poles, Matt Eberflus, this coaching staff, this front office, they got to decide what their plans are for Jenkins. Number 1, is he a starter? For sure. I think he probably is based on what you currently have, but maybe they feel differently. Maybe they're not sure, and they want to draft guys to play over him. Number 2, is he a left tackle, is he a right tackle, or is he a guard? I've heard any of the above are possible. If he's a left tackle, then you could go sign a Lucas to start at right tackle. Also, where does Borum fit into this? Larry Borum. I've heard the Bears are not as high on him. They don't view him as a starter. And if that's the case, that's fine. You need depth pieces. I think we all like Larry Borum as a backup at least. He has guard tackle flexibility that's valuable as you carry 8-9 offensive linemen. But they got to figure out, Jenkins, Borum, are they starters? What position do they play? Figure that out, and then you draft/sign other guys to fill other areas. But I don't have that information, so I'm drafting based on need. So I took 2 offensive linemen. I don't care. Leon O'Neal, safety out of A&M, was also available. Nick Benito, the Oklahoma edge, was still on the board. Quay Walker, the linebacker out of Georgia, was on the board. So was Kobe Bryant and Daniel Falele. Quick note on him. Bears want lighter offensive linemen in terms of weight. 6'9", 380. That doesn't really fit the mold, so I don't think the Bears are going to be interested. Bigger need right now, today, when you're watching this. Type WR for receiver. Type OL for offensive line. I think it's O-line. If you got Bates, maybe I'd go receiver because Bates would be a starter for this team. But as of today, I'm going to type offensive line, type OL. Another 3rd-round pick. Yay, because of the trades I made earlier. Brian Asamoah, the number 99 overall pick here. Athletic linebacker. He can cover well. Always around the football. Great instincts. I think he could come in, be your number 3 linebacker this year. And then, in beyond 2022, he can be a full-time starter for you as well. You look at the depth chart. You heard Matt Eberflus's comments. Roquan Smith, Nick Morrow, they feel like those guys are interchangeable. They could play middle or will. I think Asamoah fits what Eberflus wants in a linebacker. Good athleticism, sideline to sideline. He can stop the run. He can cover tight ends. Ran a mid 4.5 at the combine. I think he could come in, be your number 3 linebacker, play a little bit of Sam for you, and then rotate at middle and will as well. And then 2023 and beyond, he's a top 2 linebacker next to Roquan Smith. Other players that were available here, and then once we get to our day 3 picks, we won't spend as much time. Nick Benito was still there. Calvin Austin, speedy receiver out of Memphis, was on the board. Jerome Ford, the Cincinnati running back. Jeremy Ruckert's an interesting name, Ohio State tight end. Obviously, the Fields connection there could be an option at some point in this draft for Chicago. Then Isaiah Thomas, the edge rusher out of Oklahoma. All right, no 4th-round pick, even with the trades I made, so let's jump to round 5, pick 150. Michael Wright, the cornerback out of Oregon, kind of similar to Thomas Graham in a lot of ways. Undersized, but competitive, makes up for it with physicality. I didn't love the 40 he ran, 4.57. I thought he'd be a sub 4.5 guy. Not going to put a ton of stock into that, but that would have helped his stock a little. I think in the 5th round, this is pretty good value. Average athlete, but he plays really hard. Tenacity. He does not back down from anybody. 5'10 and a half. This is a classic chip on his shoulder guy, right? Like, hey, no, these guys, they always come out, no one believes in me. I've had to battle my entire life. That's this guy. He's overlooked. He was under-recruited, found his way to Oregon, and, day 3 pick, I think he can come into this cornerback room and compete, because as of now, you got Jalen Johnson and not a ton else. So we'll see what else the Bears do at corner in free agency. But a guy like Michael Wright, I think, could come in and compete. Here's what I would do. Go sign a veteran CB2 to be your number 2 outside corner, or be a lockdown nickelback, and then let a draft pick and some other guys compete for CB3. Kendall Vilder, Thomas Graham, a guy like Michael Wright, Duke Shelley. Put all these guys out there in competition. One of them will emerge as your 3rd quarterback. Name a CB you think the Bears should draft or sign. Free agent, draft pick, doesn't matter to me. Who would you like to see the Bears go out and get at the cornerback position? All right, final pick, and producer Jack is loving this one, out of his alma mater. Donovan West out of Arizona State, 3-year starter. I thought this was a good value pick here in round 6. Undersized, needs to get stronger, but he could play guard and center. That's intriguing to me. You need depth, too. It's not just starters on the O-line. You need quality backups, and I think he can be a quality backup. Now, a lot of you are probably saying, well, isn't that just Sam Mustipher, a guy who can play guard and center as a backup? Sure, but, it's not like you have a ton of other bodies. What, Dakota Dozier? This guy's better than Latavius Simmons, probably. So you need depth. You need starters. I think Donovan West can help you get some depth. All right, there's my Bears mock draft 3.0. A lot going on with the 2 trades. I traded down from 39 to 57, so my first pick was at 48. Jahan Dotson, the receiver out of Penn State. Tyler Smith, after I trade down the offensive lineman out of Tulsa. Sky Moore, I landed him in round 3 after trading down with Cleveland at number 78. Abraham Lucas was part of a trade as well. I get him in round 3. Brian Asamoah, part of a trade as well at number 99. So think about that, guys. 5 top 100 picks. Ryan Poles can wheel and deal, believe me. Michael Wright, the corner out of Oregon in round 5, and then Donovan West, the guard, center, flexible offensive lineman in round 6. Had 2 trades that involved multiple picks. It was a lot of fun, and hey, rate it for me, 1 to 100. 1 being this draft freaking sucked, 100 being this was awesome, this was fun, I want you to do more in the future. I felt good about it. 5 top 100 picks, could do worse. Scale it from 1 to 100. All right, we'll get some shout-outs here. Biker Bob on Rumble, bear down from Tennessee, he says. Pickens would be a great fit. I'd like Pickens. He wasn't there when I traded down the second time. So, I got Sky Moore still. I'll take that to get an extra pick. All right, we'll get some shout-outs. 2K says 72. Another Josh says 90. Timothy says 80. Don Burr says 1. One of the greater trolls, I think he means 100. Austin says 50. Martin says 45. Some good picks, great trades, but too many O-line. I mean, the last pick you made is round 6, and you need O-linemen. Remember, I'm making this draft as of right now, but hey, we're entitled to your opinion. Producer Jack says it's a 100, but that's because I took someone from Arizona State. Daniel says 85. Tamber the Lambert says 83. Yeah, I mean, I think it's like a B plus trade. Sly says, answer my question. Well, luckily for you, Sly, we're answering more questions. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat. If you don't Super Chat, if you don't use hashtag Bears, we can't answer your questions. That's just how the software works. So get your questions in, Super Chat, hashtag Bears, and stay tuned for Q&A number 2 here on Bears Now. Live Q&A time here on Chicago Bears Now. I am Harrison Graham, ready to answer all of your questions. So load them up by using hashtag Bears or Super Chat. Bad Guy Eyes, appreciate the $2. What percentage chance we trade back with one of our 2s? Say like 30%. I'd say pretty good chance. Hard to put an exact number on it, but I would give it greater than 1 Smoking J. Maybe 50%. 2 Smoking J's, people are talking. I think Ryan Poles wants more picks, and if there's not the perfect player there at 39 and or 48, I think trading down's a good idea. Shaquille McNair, bear down. Borum at right guard, Jenkins at right tackle. Possible. You know, I don't know how they view Borum. I've heard not greatly. I don't know how they feel about Jenkins. I think, if I had to guess, I'm going to guess Tevin Jenkins starts at right tackle. But as of now, I don't know that. That's why I took Abraham Lucas in round 3 of my mock draft, because I don't know how the hell they feel about these guys. We just don't know. Tamber the Lambert, I'm not trusting Poles. He missed out on Ogunjobi and Bates. Didn't miss out on Ogunjobi. He had a worse medical than anyone thought. And he said that bringing him back could still be a possibility. He signed almost nobody when we have no depth on the roster, and he's let way too many players walk that we should have re-signed. So who are the guys they should have re-signed? And you guys weigh in the comments. James Daniels, we've heard, there's been chatter for months that Poles didn't like him. Didn't like him for this scheme. Too slow. Akeem Hicks, still a free agent, could bring him back. Bears want to get younger. Too many injuries. He traded Khalil Mack. Okay, I mean, if you're frustrated at that, I get that. But, I mean, it's not like this team let superstar talent walk. I mean, there wasn't a lot of superstar talent here. Arthur Rocks, haven't done enough in the secondary. Yeah, you got to get a corner, and they even said that at the owners' meeting, so we need another corner. So I expect something to happen there. Probably need a safety, too. I would try to get a cheapish safety next to Eddie Jackson, get a quality CB2 next to Jalen Johnson, and I think that could happen still. Matthew Miller, what do you think about trading both second-round picks for Chris Olave? Gotten this question a lot. Some of you guys are like, I'm tired of hearing about Chris Olave. It won't happen. Well, never say never. This offseason has had literally everything. I think that I would slightly consider it if he falls into the 20s and it doesn't ruin the rest of your draft. But beyond that, I don't think it's very likely. Jay Williams, would you trade for A.J. Brown and pay him? Good two-parter because if you trade for Brown, you're committing to pay him at that point. Depends on the trade. I love A.J. Brown, but again, I don't think Tennessee's letting him go, even though there's been some trade buzz around him. He just wants a new contract. And B, are you going to trade a future first and pay him $25 million a year? Because that might be what it takes. I'm probably not doing that if I'm the Bears right now. Name a player that you would trade for. There's certainly some players that I would trade for. Let me know in the comments one player out there that you would trade for if you were Ryan Poles. Now be sure to hit that subscribe button here on Bears Now because we cover the latest Bears news and rumors, plus tons of draft coverage, mock drafts, draft targets. We just did mock draft 3.0, free agency coverage as well. We cover it all. Daily videos for free, consistent Bears coverage. YouTube.com/BearsNow is the place to go. Jonathan Upshaw, your dream first draft pick. Let's just say they don't trade down. Okay? So at 39. I think a guy that would be a home run there, if Zion Johnson is still there at 39, which he may not be. He could go first round. But there's at least a chance it happens. Where, like Chris Olave, there's almost no chance it happens. Jahan Dotson's another one. Those are fringe round one guys. If they're there at 39, I think it's great value. Is there another offensive line? Who's the guy? The A&M guard. Keon something. Texas A&M guard. NFL Draft 2022. Let me see if I can find him real quick. God, of course I can't. Kenyon Green. Keep that name in mind. I don't think he falls to 39, but if he does, I think he's a plug-and-play guard in the NFL right away. Derek Young, should the Bears trade Eddie Jackson for 2 day 3 picks? Well, you can only trade Jackson after June 1st. I'm not sure how the NFL works. Technically, you can trade him before, but you lose money against the cap if you do that. But you could trade him for day 3 picks in next year's draft. Would I do that? I don't know. I think Eddie Jackson's here this year, but we'll have to see. Nothing's out of bounds. David Sanchez, what are the Bears' backup plans for a guard since Ryan Bates is heading back to Buffalo? Let's find out. Your guess is as good as mine. They signed Dakota Dozier. I don't think they want him to start, but he's a backup option. Draft, free agents, I mean, Trey Turner's out there. There's a few other guys. I'm drawing blanks on a few pieces, but yeah, I mean, you could. Here's another option: sign J.C. Treader, then move Lucas Patrick to guard. You could do that. So, Poles will have a plan B. We'll see where he goes from here. DeBoss, thoughts on new playoff rules? Yeah, so we're filming this live on Tuesday. New playoff rules are this: that in overtime, playoffs only, by the way. This doesn't apply to the regular season. Both teams get a possession now. So, Bears go down and score, get a touchdown. The other team gets the ball. If they go down and tie it, then it's sudden death from that point. So I think it's fair. I don't think a game should be, not that a coin flip solely decides games, but 10 out of the last 12 playoff games, whoever won the toss won the game. That's a high percentage. So now, I do wonder this. Do you just kick off in playoff overtime now? I'd rather go second and know what I'm facing, right? It's kind of like college overtime. You always want to play defense first. I think that's what a lot of teams are going to do now. Bears fans, help us out. Follow us on Rumble. We're trying to get to 500 followers. We're approaching 400 quickly. Give us a follow, rumble.com/Bears now for more Chicago Bears news and rumors, plus some exclusive content. Ian Mitchell, how about DK Metcalf? Talk about a player to potentially trade for. I think he's staying in Seattle. If he does get traded, it's probably going to be a team like the Chiefs or another contender. But I'm interested. I think his skill set translates to the Bears very well. If I could get him without giving up a future first, that's something I would heavily consider. Edwin Bond, getting younger is sweet, but understand the vets are priceless. Remember, getting younger also means more mistakes. Still give them a 10-6. What is that last word? Graham? 10-6. Well, first, if you're talking about record, can't go 10-6. 17 games now. But yeah, Edwin, I think you'll eventually they'll add some older vets to help fill out the roster. They also have some older vets still on this team. Not as many as they used to, but yeah. And to your point, more mistakes. This might be a year where mistakes happen, and this team learns from it and gets better from it. Think about Philadelphia last year. I've made this analogy a few times. Philadelphia, I believe, started 2-5. They rallied to go 9-8 to make the playoffs. They got crushed by Tampa Bay, but what a great experience for Jalen Hurts and a first-year head coach, Nick Sirianni. Very similar parallels, by the way. Matt Eberflus, first-year head coach. Justin Fields, second-year quarterback like Jalen Hurts, who, by the way, I think Fields has much more upside. Could something similar happen? Maybe they start slow. There's some mistakes. This young roster is making some mistakes. They learn. They take advantage of a weaker schedule, rally to the playoffs. I don't think it's that outrageous for that to at least be a possibility. Chi-Town edits, way too early to ask, but should we maybe sign next year in free agency for wide receivers? DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel, A.J. Brown, Terry McLaurin, Brandon Cooks, Deontay Johnson, Hunter Renfrow. I think a lot of those guys will get extensions before then, but yeah, that's a lot of good players, right? Like, and it's a good point you make overall, Chi-Town, because the Bears, after they evaluate this year, are going to be able to take some big swings in free agency next year because they're going to have more cap space. They're going to have a better feel for their current roster. So, yeah, I could see going out and trying to get one of these big-time guys. All right, Bears fans, I know a lot of you guys live in the Chicago area or overall Chicago sports fans. So I want to know, Cubs or White Sox? Type C for Cubs, type W for White Sox. Get your votes in the comments. I'm going to be reading them. I'm curious where you guys land. C for Cubs, W for White Sox, North Siders, South Siders. Let's hear it. C or W. Ed with a $5 super chat. I don't know what currency that is, but we did convert it. Do you see the Bears going all out in free agency to support Fields next year, like the Dolphins did for Tua this free agency? I think that's a good point. I think they'll add a few more pieces this year, probably minor ones, obviously the draft as well. And then if they like enough of what they see from Fields, they'll invest even more next year when they have more money to spend. This first year is going to be a lot of evaluation for Fields and the rest of this roster. So just stay tuned. Anything could happen this year. This team could win 5 games. It could win 10 games. A lot of that's going to depend on coaching, and a lot of it's going to depend on how well Justin Fields plays. Onyx Revenge, would you take Dotson over Treylon Burks? No, I would not. But I don't think Burks falls to 39. If he's there, take him. I love Treylon Burks. He's versatile. He doesn't have quite the straight line speed as a Dotson, but 6'3", 230. He can still pull away from defenders. Powerful. You can use him a little bit like Deebo Samuel as a running back. He's fantastic. If he's there at 39, that would be tremendous. Haunting History, do you think next year's draft class will be better than this year? And who stands out for next year as we tank this year? Again, let me take a sip real quick. I don't know if the Bears are flat out tanking, but let's say they do. Let's say they win like 4 games. How about Jackson Smith and Jigba? I think he's got better potential than Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State. Now, him and Fields only overlapped for 1 season, and Smith and Jigba didn't play a ton that in his freshman year. But last year, he put up bigger numbers than both. So he's a guy that he's probably going to go top 10. And if the Bears are picking there, maybe they can go get him. Ian Mitchell, would you sign Tyrann Mathieu for $10 million? 1 year, $10 million, 2 years, $20? I might. He'd be one of the bigger name free agents left that I would consider. You've got the Ryan Poles connection. It's positional value. And he's young enough at 29, but old enough with his experiences to bring value as a leader and still value as a productive player. He's still a good player. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do like 4 years, $40 million, but 2 years, $20, 1 year, $10. Yeah, I would do that for Tyrann Mathieu. Make sure you guys follow me on IG. We're closing in on 3,000 followers. Once we cross it, we'll cook up a brand new Bears Now Instagram Live at HGramNFL. Give me a follow, and hey, we'll cook one up very soon. All right, I want to get some shout-outs here, and I want you to get your votes in. Cubs or White Sox? Scrolling back up a little bit. Daquan said Cubs. Two Johns say White Sox. New Era says Cubs. Josh says Cubs. Go Cubs go from Sly. Wani says Cubs. John says White Sox. Jacob, Cubs. DTS, Cubs. White House from John. Or White Sox, excuse me. JM says White Sox. Tyler says Cubs. Let's see. Carson says A. Let's see. Eric says White Sox. A for Angels, Carson? Or the Athletics or the Astros? Sparchange says White Sox. Matthew says Cubs. Looks kind of split. Pretty split here. Producer Jack's a Red Sox fan. Oh, is he coming up here? He's wearing the hat. He's wearing the hat. Here he comes. Resident baseball fan. Jack Lauderay.
Let's go!
He's a Red Sox fan. There he goes. Jack Lauderay. All right. C for Cubs, W for White Sox. All right, here's the deal. I'm going to give you guys how about this? I'll start a timer. 2 minutes starting right now to follow us on Rumble and stay with us live because we're going to do a bonus segment here on Rumble right now. By the way, 366 followers, almost got to 400. Give us a follow, rumble.com/BearsNow. Follow us, join us over there in the next minute 40 because we're going to shut down the YouTube stream and we're going to stay live on Rumble for a little Bears Now After Hours bonus segment coming up. We'll take a look at 10 free agents the Bears can still sign in free agency over on Rumble only, rumble.com/BearsNow. So stay with us. We got a minute 20 left. Minute 20 left. So we're sending you guys to Rumble. We're staying live over there for a bonus segment. Hang out. Have some fun. There's a comment section over there as well so you guys can interact. rumble.com/bearsnow. If you need to create an account, you can do so real quick. We got another minute or so, and go join us. Rumble.com/bearsnow. Already see Biker Bob in the chat over there as well. And once you go switch to Rumble, light up the comment section so I can get some shout-outs over there as well. We got 45 seconds left. Give us a follow. Bonus segment on Rumble coming your way right now as we're going to get ready to sign off here on YouTube. I appreciate you guys for rocking and rolling with us. Almost $100 in super chats today, so that was fantastic. So 30 seconds, rumble.com/bearsnow. Aeronaut is in the chat on Rumble. And yes, Aeronaut makes a good point. He said, best of all, Don Burr isn't on Rumble. So if you guys are tired of Don Burr right now, go join us on Rumble. We'll stay alive. We'll do a bonus segment, and we will have you guys covered. 10 seconds, and then we're going to say goodbye here on YouTube. Join us on Rumble, rumble.com/bearsnow for a bonus segment. All right, for those of us those of you who have been with us here on YouTube, we appreciate it. More videos throughout the week. We're going to sign off here on YouTube. Join us on Rumble right now, rumble.com/bearsnow.